Hi, welcome back to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. I'm Lisa Strauss Lawrence.
And I'm
Hi,
Susan
Susan.
Caperso. Hi, Lisa. So nice to see you again today.
Always nice to see you too.
This is an exciting topic we're talking about end of life celebrations because they are life celebrations, right?
They are, and both of us, I know, have a lot of experience with event planning.
We do. We do. That's something that you and I have both been doing for 30, 40 years, planning authentic events and seeing them blossom into and come to fruition into something that nobody expects.
Yeah, let's talk about
Um,
those kind of events.
Yeah, our events I think have gone down in history. I've had a couple myself, seafood festival events, authentic luau's with the pyramid, the volcanoes. I made homemade 10-foot volcanoes, and everything is authentic, and that's how you and I have always celebrated life in general with themes, right? With
Yes,
our family and friends.
yes, it really takes a very organized person, but I think it also takes a lot of creativity and that sense of, well, what does this mean? Like, how meaningful can you make it so that it really celebrates that person? It's like the
Right.
surprise party that I made for my mom. She thought she was coming to our anniversary, and she got a card that said, "Come to our anniversary party." Everybody else got a card that said, a surprise birthday party. And there
Right.
were 98 people in that room, and every single one of the table favors were her favorite movie because my
Yeah,
children had found out what her movies were, and yellow and blue were her favorite colors. Things that again mean something to that person and
exactly.
how they remember.
Exactly. And the
Surprise.
authenticity and the treasures and the memories that you bring into the event are are the pieces that form a puzzle that people will go home and never forget. You know, at my luau, I didn't just have tablecloths. I went to the fabric store and I got burlap, like a potato sack,
Nice.
and all the tables were in burlap. My centerpieces were not just a few flowers in a bud vase or even arrangement. My centerpiece were fish bowls with goldfish in them, and
Huh.
then a wreath around the outside of the fishbowl with ginger and birds of paradise and all your Hawaiian flowers. I had travel agency brochures from Maui and Kauai and all over the tables
Yes.
with those.
Yes.
And there's just so many intricate pieces of a puzzle, and it was amazing how you and I discovered our synchronicity for event
Events.
planning and
Yes.
celebrating,
Yes.
and that came through our professions now and our chosen passion to envelop end of life.
Yeah, and I want to lead into that with this. This is really interesting. My partner said to me, when I die, I don't want people crying and carrying on. I want them to be, I want them to think of me, in a fun way, and I would like to have them roast me. And I said, well, that's a shame. That would be fun, but that's a shame because then you won't hear them. You won't know what they said about you.
Right.
So for his surprise party for his 70th birthday, I picked a place that does roasts, barbecue stuff, and I
Hmm.
invited people and told them that we would be doing a roast for him, and all the details of that and what that meant. So that leads us really into that a life celebration can be while that person is here, but obviously has limited time here. Or after that person is no longer here, and we want to celebrate them and remember them in the best way possible.
Right, right. So the end of life celebration, which we now call a life celebration, can be a planned event before the person goes because they can be a host at their own gathering.
That's right.
And I got to tell you, that creates a whole nother story for another video. But the bottom line is, you're creating a better way for your friends and family and the people you love, a better way to grieve.
Yes.
Okay, because think about it this way, so many people, 100 people in Aunt Mary's life haven't seen Aunt Mary, and then they're invited to a 2-hour wake. Okay, what kind of closure?
Yeah.
And it's funny, but it's not. What
Yeah.
kind of closure are you getting in that 2 hour wake? Okay, you really not. But then think about the family who has Aunt Vanessa. Okay, how did I get that name? I don't know. But Aunt Vanessa, okay, they had a family gathering like this life celebration with Aunt Vanessa there, and the party was 6 hours. Okay, and the videos and the trivia and the gifting and the readings and the
And
people
the
spoke
stories and the symbols and
stories
all
and
the
the
things that are really important, that's what they will remember.
okay, so now what happens when they get the phone call 4 or 5 months later and they're invited to attend Aunt Vanessa's 2 hour wake? What do you think everybody's talking about at that wake? Thank
The last
God,
time I saw her,
thank
we had
God
this
we did
wonderful
that for
time
Aunt
together.
Vanessa,
That's right. That's right.
right?
That's
And
right.
it helps them smile more and grieve better knowing that they came full circle and had
Right.
some of this closure in their life with Aunt Vanessa. Because Aunt Vanessa actually stood up at the party and says,
Yes.
"Don't grieve for
That's
me,
right.
laugh for
That's
me,
right. That's right.
celebrate me, and remember this day."
That's right. That's right. And in the same way, after somebody is no longer with us, to celebrate them and to say, I remember when. And these are all the wonderful things that we did together and celebrate them, in a group with a beautiful, wonderful event that symbolizes who they were and a part, and they're still a part of our lives. But in this way, this is how we're honoring them.
Because that is the word I was just about to use. Because when you're celebrating somebody's life, you're honoring them with love,
Yes.
you're connecting, you're bonding with all the other family member and friends who are grieving as well.
Yes.
So it does bring, it helps you come full circle. I'm sorry I use that phrase a lot because that's the name of my book,
Sure.
but it does help you come full circle and it closes up those puzzle pieces that are left unattended to and unraveled
Yes.
by getting a little bit of closure like this.
Yes. So let's talk about a little bit of what's involved with this. I mean, obviously, we're really great event planners and all, and we're consultants, but what's involved in really planning a meaningful event, something that really celebrates somebody's life?
Well, I think, Lisa, first the idea has to be born. And it's our hopes a little bit today that with this video, it will help people think outside of their box, right? And you have to know what kind of celebration is right for you. And all of that has to do with who the person was,
Yes. Or is
okay?
right now, or is
Or
right
is
now.
right now.
What they represent, what they love, what they enjoy.
We're all so different. We're
We
all
are.
so different. Maybe somebody's, been in an orchestra their entire lives, and you want to do something a little bit more elegant or classical
Mhm.
and have an orchestra there, to celebrate and dote on the things that they love to do in their career or personal life,
Yes.
right? Their hobbies, if they're a big He-Man, caveman sports fan.
Yes.
Okay, that's an important thing too. Well, you know what? Let's have everybody come in jerseys.
Yes.
Okay, wear your favorite sports jersey, or no, it has to be football. How about that?
Right.
And you
Right.
can put that on the invitation
Sure.
because it's your party and you can cry if you want to, but you can celebrate if you want to,
Yes. Yes.
so you can make it a theme party.
Yes.
When I think of a life celebration party for me, and maybe my boys will watch this video one day and see that I would prefer it to be like some of the pictures that we have on the website. So there's a tab on the website, eastenddulacare.com, and it says life celebrations on top. So putting that page together, there are a lot of gardening, pretty,
Yes.
all white.
Yes.
And it's going to be on my invitation that everybody needs to wear white as well.
Mhm.
And why not? Because I can theme it that way if
Sure.
if you want to. Some of these things may not be important, right? To everybody. They might just let's have that backyard barbecue because this is what we did all our lives. And that's just as beautiful. You
Yes.
don't need to have favors. You don't have to have somebody sitting playing the harp
Hmm.
or,
Hmm.
playing just your music. You can put the radio station on. You could just, celebrating a person's life is is not just the fluffy stuff and,
Yes.
and the theme.
Yes.
You can have the best time sitting around a picnic table, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the first thing is the idea is born,
Yep.
right? And then you roll it over. You got to roll it over with a family member or a friend and get out a pad and pen and think about these ideas and the stories and the things that make up this person's life.
Right. And especially family members, because family members want to have an input into it and want to feel that they're part of it in some
Be
way.
careful with that though,
Okay.
because if you could sit down with a whole group of family members and
Too
there's
many
just
people.
going to
Yes.
be
Too many people.
too
Yeah. No.
many hands in the
Yeah.
pot
No. No. No.
and no decisions will be made.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's important
Yes.
too.
And honestly, if you're directing your own, you really want to make sure that it represents what you want. Don't be influenced by other people who, say, "Oh, well,
What
don't
they
you want
want.
this? Don't you want that?" I mean, it really needs to be for you. So,
Also thinking about not just the football jerseys and the type of music, but think of the whole the ambiance
yes.
that you want to invoke. Do you want it to be peaceful and serene? Because you can give me those two words and I can put together a celebration for you. Do you want it to be celebratory and loud? And we can have a circus with stations and
Right.
face painting and all kinds of things. So you have to think of the feeling beyond it.
Yeah, it's
What
like the
kind of
atmosphere.
feeling?
The
The
atmosphere.
atmosphere and
Yes.
the ambiance. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also obviously a budget,
Oh
so
yeah.
what how much you want to spend on this.
That's huge. You can make this a black tie event, and we could have it at the country club or the catering hall around the corner. And these are beautiful events, but also think that you need to have that budget behind you of $10,000 or $20,000 to make this the event of all events.
Hmm.
When you're doing a potluck and everybody's bringing a dish to help
Yes.
you out with the celebration, it could end up costing you $100 or
That's
$500,
right.
or
That's right.
it's
Yeah, there's a
however.
lot of halls, VFW halls, American Legion halls that, have the hourly rate, for 4 hours, it's whatever. And
Mhm.
you cater it or, however you want to bring the food in and all. And you could really do a great job there. I did a surprise party and the theme was 60s. So
Mm.
everybody was dressed in 60s, tie-dye shirts and all that stuff. And I had hula hoops and I had all kinds of twist contests and stuff. And it was just so much fun. He had no idea. He was dressed in a shirt because he thought he was going to a concert, a 60s concert. So he was dressed right. But again, it represented his, who he was. It was 65th birthday. So it was just perfect for his style, for the way he was.
Exactly. And it's all about really thinking outside of the box. All right. So let me give you an idea. Maybe you have a girlfriend and you've had a group of friends for some time, and maybe the girlfriend doesn't have 50 people in her family, and you can't have a big life celebration if there's 10 people, but maybe you want to do a theme party like a high tea,
Yeah.
have a tea and a brunch in a really pretty place. We have here on Long Island an Arboretum,
Yes.
in Oakdale,
Yes. I love that
and
place.
oh my gosh. So the inside tea room
Yes, I
that
do.
they have, and they
Lovely.
do that celebration purposefully. And you could put on the invitations to dress in your high tea outfits and your hat, and this is going to be in celebration of, and have lots of pretty frilly flowers on the table, and have this for a friend with all the girlfriends. Or all, well, the guy friends might not want to have tea. They might want to go to a game or something,
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
but just a little bit of thought. It's that pen and that pad. Start there. Start with the theme, the people that are going, the budget, the place. You can even have a gathering in a park or at a beach,
Yep.
and
Or
then
one of the
pull
wine. We
things.
have wonderful wine places out east.
Oh, lots of
Wine.
wineries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful out there. I actually took a limo with women and I went out there as a friend's wine sort of tour
So
thing.
you did something like that to
I did. It
celebrate a
was
friend.
wonderful. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So it can be as exotic and colorful with lots of wine, or just tea.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, these are all decisions that you have to make, again, with that list.
Yeah, the important thing is really the capturing of
The
who
magic.
you are or who that person was,
Yeah.
because that's what the meaningful part is here.
Hmm.
It's not about how much money you're going to spend, but in
Right.
the end, how it's going to be remembered. That event and what it meant. That's the bottom
And
line.
invitations are powerful, no matter how small or big your group is. So you can say, I want everybody to bring a memory.
Mm,
I want everybody to bring a. If you say everybody, they're all going to come with. Not everybody's going to come in with a plan and a
right,
memory, but
right.
you'll have a handful of people that will want to get up to share that memory. They wrote it down even to share the story and the memory and the or the funny times or bring something funny. Bring your funniest memory that you spent with Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
I had them send funny pictures.
mhm,
Look through your album and find funny pictures that we can
mhm.
put on a large cork board.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And again, afterwards, to be able to be remembered and find that beautiful way of celebrating that person together,
Hmm.
you know, that makes me feel just so wonderful.
It does. You're making a moment in history
Yeah.
here, a memory for people to remember for the rest of their lives. Because you know what? No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, you could be a stay-at-home mom. You know, you could be somebody who's been on many charities and nonprofits and accomplished so much in life, or the person who hasn't, and the person that stayed home and worked on hobbies and did their own thing and didn't have a lot of big circles and a lot of friends. We all come from different places, but shouldn't we all be celebrated somehow?
Your life was meaning,
It
had
was.
meaning. You were here. And that's what we celebrate. That's
That's
what we,
right.
yes, yes,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
So
So again, it takes a lot of organization. It
it
takes
does.
research. It takes some creativity to really think about who that person is and what they would love and what represents them. Um, really important time to figure that out.
The
That's what,
people that you want there, right? We
yes.
maybe have a surprise guest, or it
Hmm.
can be a spiritual leader
Hmm.
that comes and reads, passages and scriptures or what have you.
Yes.
But there's a big circle to making this life celebration come to fruition. And it hard work? It's a lot of hard work, and you can't really it's a lot to take on for yourself unless you have in the backyard party with 10 people, which is a beautiful thing. It's hard to take on yourself. So get a friend, get a family member, sit down, go over things, maybe designate different people
To
to
do
do
different
different
parts of it.
things, but you're telling them what you want them to do,
Right, right,
not getting so much input to where your head's spinning and
right,
nobody's agreeing on things.
right, right.
Unless you have a very agreeable Brady Bunch family around the table, then that's all good.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that you can bring into life celebrations.
I was
Little
thinking about the
things,
favors and stuff. Things that
favors.
meant something
Oh
to
gosh,
that person and
that's
represents
right.
them.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. And it can be as big or small. If you have funds available to you and money's no big deal, well, you can give them all tickets to the next football game because
Right,
that's what he loved, football. I
right.
know I keep bringing up sports, but I know a lot of people like that in my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
But their hobbies, if they were a painter,
Yes.
okay, there's a lot of things you can do
And same thing with
with,
photography.
oh
You could
yeah,
take some of their pictures and put
favorite
that into
picture,
little,
put it in a little frame or put it on a canvas,
yeah.
right, with their name and a signature.
What
And
a
that can
great
be a
gift.
gift, even if it's an 8 by 10 and something small, that could be a gift at a life celebration for
Yeah,
somebody. And that's never going to be forgotten,
yeah.
right? There's recordings that you can do, there's donations. If they had a charitable, a lot of people love pets, okay, and maybe never got to donate during the years or always wanted to donate. That's something that we could put on, you could put on an invitation that says, in lieu of anything,
Yes.
please contribute. You know how to word that, Lisa,
Sure.
to a particular patent
Charity.
clause
Yeah.
charity,
Yeah.
um, in their honor, in their name.
And how
So many
meaningful
things. There's
that is.
unlimited possibilities.
Yes.
There's unlimited possibilities. So you have to give it some thought. You have to research to
Yeah.
order to make your event extraordinary. You really need to do your research, think outside of the box, do a lot of Googling,
Yes.
and it takes time and effort. And,
And again, that's
that's,
that's where we come into. I mean, I have to say that you and I are really great at trying to listen to people, trying to understand what means something to them, trying to bring that out in something special. We're good at that. We're very good at
well,
that.
and that's the reason why Lisa and I we have a whole, what do we call
Sec-
our
Like,
proposal, where
yes.
we do consulting work just on life celebrations.
And I think that people haven't really spent time. I mean, we've spent a whole year now, and some people have never been able to mourn the people who they've lost, not been able to say goodbye to them. I
Oh,
mean, this,
sure, sure. And that's
especially
the
now.
last few clients that we have or coming for ideas and suggestions. And it's, when we do get together with a client, it is over Zoom, so we could be in our home and comfortable. And we have 2 meetings, right? So the
Yes,
first is to go over all the pertinent information and to learn the story of the person's life.
yes.
And that helps Lisa and I put together an extraordinary event, that you could bring into your own family
Yeah.
to host this life celebration.
Yeah. And I think that they also need to understand that both of us are widows and both of us have gone through death, and both of us understand bereavement, end of life. I mean, we've been there. So, we have the advantage of really identifying with those that we work with. That's very
Sure.
important.
After losing so many,
Yeah.
and I lost my 14 people within 2 years.
It's just,
That's too much. It's
I
too
can't.
much and it's too overwhelming. I have managed to turn it around,
Mm.
and something came out good. I'm giving good to the world. I'm giving gifts of, understanding end of life and celebrating it a little more because I know how short life is.
Yeah, I do
Life is
too.
short, but we're all on that journey.
Yes.
This is a path and a timeline that we're all taking, and it's a sacred one. And when you realize that end of life could be tomorrow, it can be when we're 99 years old.
Hmm.
That's wonderful if we can live 100 years. But no matter what, it's celebrating life is, and we can't always do that.
Right.
My husband's passing was a little bit more, well, it was the flu, not the pandemic, the regular flu.
Mm.
But from the minute he went into the hospital, he couldn't speak. So there was no planning a life celebration. And that's why it's so important for me that when you do have that diagnosis or when you do know, it's so important to put these things in place instead of not talking about them and not thinking about them until it's too late.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your courses because there is a great site and you have some really interesting opportunities for people.
East End, eastend.academy. That's the whole web address, eastend.academy. Oh, it's right up there on top of my
It
head.
is. It is.
Yeah.
And what
So
kind of course do you offer in there, Susan?
I've been developing a few courses over the last 2 years, to help with your end of life journey. One in particular, coming full circle, why I keep mentioning that it's a course in there to implement tools, tips, and ideas that an end of life doula can bring into your life or your family's life, at the end of life to help make things better. That's why I was smiling before when you talked about the roast. That's one of the chapters in my book because I try and give ideas on how to host some life celebrations and to bring some happiness and make that end of life a little more peaceful and gentle. And Lisa and I put a course together most recently, what a dying person wants, what a dying person wants to
That
know.
that is really especially suited for assisted living facilities, for nursing homes, for home care agencies. Just think how valuable that is for people who work with people and families. Be
Yeah.
able to understand better, to be able to provide better care. That's huge.
Absolutely. And that's our focus with that course, because there are so many employees that are caring and giving,
Mm.
right? And trained, but
What a hard
still
job.
haven't learned. It's a hard job,
Yes.
really hard job. And to learn some of the things that can bring more empathy into a relationship with a patient at that time is valuable.
Yes.
It's really valuable, and everybody should have that, a little bit of that training. So we're trying to do that. And there's a few others in there as well.
Mhm.
So if you get a chance, take a look at that. Lisa also has a few books,
I
right?
do.
We have
I
books on Amazon.
I do. I do. They focus on pancreatic cancer because my husband died of pancreatic cancer. So my books go to Lustgarten Foundation, which is the world's largest private funder of pancreatic cancer research here on Long Island. But, you know, when you think about it, the books really do represent support for people going through any disease. You know, the first one is really just about the progression and the disease and what we all went through. But the second one is really tracking 10 years down the road where we've come and where we've been,
How far, right?
how far we've been. Yeah. Yeah.
How far?
So,
Because it's definitely a journey for not only the person, but for the family thereafter. Lisa
yes,
and I both offer consulting as well,
we do.
before end of life, after. Lisa's a bereavement specialist,
We do.
so we offer consulting services as well. But it was really fun today to talk
Yes.
about life celebrations,
Yes.
right? Because we
Yes.
could smile about it and make it make it an event and a celebration,
Yes. Yes. Well, hopefully
right?
we've put a lot of ideas into people's heads
Hmm.
of wherever they are right now. And hopefully they'll see the value in doing
And if you
something
need
that,
any help with that, just reach out and we'll have a one-on-one with you just like this
yep.
online. Yeah.
Okay. Until
All
next
right.
time.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you, all
Lisa,
of
for all
you.
your great information.
It was a pleasure, Susan, always.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Okay. Bye.
Bye.